The year is 1986. Pretty in Pink is a box office smash hit.
This is not the time to get serious over some Nimrod.
He's gonna use you and then throw you away.
You're ashamed to be seen with me. You're ashamed to go out with me.
And so is the movie soundtrack.
Gotta make you last.
Double Dare premieres on Nickelodeon. And Boy George comes to the A-Team.
What next?
When Boy George meets the A-Team, Tuesday.
I'm rolling.
Parker Brothers releases Pizza Party, and an ad jingle is forever cemented into our brains.
Party, pizza party, party, pizza party.
Hey, look here, there's a real hot game. Pizza Party. That's the name. You make a pizza, as you can see, with onions or mushrooms or pepperoni. You could lose if you have to switch, so you'd better be sharp. You better be slick.
Party, pizza party.
Pizza Party
Come on!
from Parker Brothers.
Pizza party.
And Jack in the Box decides to throw their own pizza party.
Did you know that Jack in the Box is fixing pizza?
No, what was wrong with it?
Well, watch this. It all starts with real pizza dough and rich tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese.
Well, it looks great, but
Mushrooms, spicy pepperoni, sausage, the whole bit.
well, it works for me, so how'd you fix it?
We did this,
Oh,
which makes it easy to take it away.
oh,
Here, try it.
for me?
The new pizza pocket from Jack in the Box. The neatest thing in pizza since the napkin.
Ooh.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Retro Pop Planet. And welcome back to another episode of Discontinued Foods. This is a series where a non-chef tries to remake beloved or forgotten discontinued foods from restaurants and fast food chains. Now I have a very obscure one here today, which actually was one of my go-to items for at least a year. And today we're talking about Jack in the Box's Pizza Pocket. Does anybody remember this? Because I swear I feel like I'm the only one that remembers this food item, but there is that one commercial that we do still have on the internet. Now the backstory with this is for a time right around like 1986, we were going to Jack in the Box a lot. And Jack in the Box was just a local fast food chain that was easy and convenient on a weeknight. This was also my pizza era where I was obsessed with all kinds of pizzas, and for whatever reason, this was my go-to item. Now, we moved from Texas in the spring of 1987 to Virginia, and we moved away from Jack in the Boxes, meaning there was no Jack in the Box in the state of Virginia, or at least none in our area. So I don't really know when this promotion went away, but judging from its lack of any sort of presence on the internet, I would imagine it was a very short-lived item, maybe a year at the most, and it might have only been in certain regional markets. Now, over the past several decades, I would say I've only been to Jack in the Box a handful of times, and my favorite is always the taco. I've always enjoyed the taco. Even when I was a little kid, the taco, I probably got the pizza pocket and a taco and the fries. Totally unnecessary, but that's how I rolled back then. And most recently, my brother and I were in San Francisco in the spring of 2023, and we stopped into a Jack in the Box before a tour to a winery. And I went all out and I got the tacos and I tried a double burger and the fries. And this is around the time when I was actually planning on doing this episode. So I was going there purposefully to try the French fries to see if I remembered what they were like. But I was also on the back end making a lot of pizza and a lot of pizza dough and experimenting with different types of pizzas. Now, this was basically a calzone. I will say though, the one difference from the calzone, and I made quite a few calzones, is that every time I would make a crust, it was way too thick. And also the sauces, whether I was making homemade sauces or I was just buying sauces at the grocery store, they were always way too liquidy and they would always leak out during the actual cook. So I couldn't get a really good consistency sauce. I couldn't keep it all together. And the end result was very, I would say it's more doughy than anything else. I also attempted using pre-made shells like these Boboli mini crusts, but I couldn't get them to stick together when folding them over. I also attempted the Pillsbury pizza crust, which were new in my grocery store. They were closer to what I was looking for, but the texture wasn't quite there either.
Now, if you go back and you watch the commercial again, they're basically just throwing on tomato paste. So recently I started thinking, okay, let's try to make a sauce that is a little bit more tomato paste based. And in fact, I actually started with tomato paste and then worked my way towards a sauce. And here's how I did it.
I started with the smallest can of Hunt's tomato paste, which is pre-seasoned with basil, garlic, and oregano. I set the range to a medium-lowish temperature, and because the paste was super thick, I thinned it out with about a can or so of water, making sure to stir it well as it's heating. And after a can and a half of water, I'm already at the perfect consistency. Using a tablespoon of McCormick Italian seasoning blend will give you an almost immediate hit of pizza flavor. Because the paste is tart, I'm adding a teaspoon of sugar. This step is optional, and personally I would leave out the fennel next time, but here's a teaspoon worth going in, and then I'm pulling the sauce off the heat. But we still need to address the crust. From my memory, the pizza pockets was flaky, similar to an old lean pocket.
Now, the primary issue that I had with this pizza pocket is the crust, as I previously mentioned. If you look at the video, it's very flaky, and my memory was that it was more akin to like a Cornish pasty, if you've ever had one of those from the UK. And even if you look at the commercial, you can see how it's flaking away. So I had a solution to that, and it was just the pre-made pastry shells that you can buy in the grocery store. I had to worry about the size.
This stuff always seems to tear though.
So I just happen to have this plate. And it allowed me to get a very good, perfect circle.
And if you do it right, it'll just tear away. I wanted a handheld size, and the one I made here is about 6.5 inches, which should be perfect. I thought I was making my final version in this footage, and I only added shredded mozzarella, pepperoni, and the sauce. I'm just winging the ratio, and the sauce ends up coming out the sides when I fold the crust. I have this pastry roller and obviously have no idea what I'm doing because it's a total hack job. The box comes with 2 crust packets, so I made a second pocket that I just used a fork to close. I thought I was following the directions correctly and heated the oven to 450 degrees F and cooked the pockets for 10 to 12 minutes. Here I am naively doing my quote-unquote final review, burning my fingers and mouth in the process because I couldn't wait to eat. I've said it before, never make these videos when you're hungry.
But when I went to actually make this intro, I decided to cut it because something was off. I was getting this bad aftertaste. Going back and looking at my film footage, I realized not only did I have the oven temperature too high, the instructions of the package actually say 450 degrees, which is what I set it at, and I followed the exact instructions. But it was a little overcooked, and I don't know if that happened towards the end or the setting was too high to begin with, or I let it sit too long and it somehow started cooking as I was setting up my cameras. But I realized that weird taste that I was getting, that bitter taste, was because it was actually burnt. And that's not what we're looking for. And if you're looking at the commercial again, they mentioned a number of different ingredients. I only added pepperoni and the cheese for my sample.
I had to go back to the store for more pastry crust, and while I was there, I picked up a small tin of button mushrooms and a tin of olives. I also snagged a packet of mozzarella and provolone because I wanted a good cheese pull, and some more pepperoni. I assembled 2 new pizza pockets following the commercial and did a much better job of sealing them with a roller. I also set the oven temp for 420 degrees Fahrenheit and took them out after exactly 10 minutes.
I think the way these things were made was that they were pre-processed in a factory, frozen, flash frozen, and then shipped out to the individual franchises. And from there, they probably were just reheated in like a convection oven or some sort of a commercial grade oven so that it was actually already cooked. They were just defrosting it and warming it there in the actual restaurant. So let's dive into this thing.
My ultimate goal was a perfect cheese pull like the commercial, and I think we achieved that. The crust is light and flaky and very reminiscent of the original. I think the sauce to cheese ratio is good, and you can taste all of the other ingredients. This would be an easy one to make with kids, but feel free to add your own ingredients.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Check out the cheese pull. Okay guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was enlightening to you if you had never heard of this and you're a huge Jack in the Box fan. I know that they went through some stuff as soon as we moved. They actually closed a bunch of restaurants. They had that massive lawsuit. There was big food safety issues. So I don't think this was linked to it. I know that they scaled back their menu items there for a time just to try to get a handle of operations. That could also be why this disappeared from menus. If you do remember this, please let me know. I really enjoy when folks that have worked in the restaurants chime in and they let me know that, yeah, this is actually how we did it, or no, we actually did it this completely different way. That for me is fun. I enjoy that sort of interaction. Please leave me a comment if that is you. Please feel free to give it a like. The algorithms really help. Please feel free to subscribe. And check out the playlist of discontinued foods I have right here on my channel. There's a lot of fun videos to dive back into. Hopefully it generates some memories for you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.